goodness, I think it's already been said, the incredible energy that's in this room and the potential that I see in each of you. And I really appreciate the time that I have to spend with you here today, again, on the traditional unceded territory of the Tsleil-Waututh people. Now, this is an important milestone for each of you, and I know you understand that important achievement in your life's path. And I know that you have worked hours to be here, capstoning, interning, and studying and working alongside professionals in the fields perhaps just like mine. You've gained critical skills, knowledge, to set you up for success, income, and ultimately, as one always hopes, happiness. I remember when I was in your shoes. I have a graduate degree in energy, environment, science, and technology from the Johns Hopkins University. And as I think about all that I learned then and what I know now, there's one skill, one kind of training that I didn't get at that time, but that I continue to try to master today. And that is mastering my mind. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Mastering the mind is one of the most important areas of lifelong learning, and without a doubt, can make the difference between a life that's full of happiness, resilience, connection to people beyond your expectations, versus a life that is full of frustration, annoyance, dissatisfaction, and in some circumstances, of course, sickness and loss. It sounds pretty compelling, huh? But what do I mean by mastering the mind? You've all heard of the concept of mindfulness, a term that has often been described as being present, fully in the moment, aware of yourself, your surroundings, not letting your feelings, thoughts, emotions take control. It's about drinking your food and eating your drink. Now, where did it come from? I'm sure that many of you know that the practice has been around for some time, thousands of years, in fact, and traces its roots all the way back to Buddhism and Hinduism. Both Buddhism and Hinduism believed in the natural cosmic order and incorporate elements that have become the basis for modern mindfulness practice today. In Buddhism, as some of you may know, the main focus is to lead followers to enlightenment. The first step on this path is sati, which translates to mindfulness, or in original Sanskrit means to bear in mind. It's an awareness of how things relate to other things, that a thought is a thought in a sea of other thoughts. The great Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny." So our thoughts, our mindset, in fact, have a lot to do with how we see and respond to the world around us. Now, how do we let our thoughts, feelings, and emotions take control? Let me give you an example that I'm sure you can all relate to. Think about driving your car. For me, my car is my emotional test lab. If someone cuts me off, do I let a negative emotion like anger and frustration take over? Yeah, I sometimes do. Or do I take a moment before reacting, acknowledging that negative emotion, but not associating with it? What good is it doing me to get all angry at someone when that driver is now leagues ahead of me? A driver that must, in such a hurry, have some stuff going on. As spiritual leader Guru Durav has said, holding on to anger is the punishment we give to ourselves for someone else's misdeed. Viktor Frankl, a well-known psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor who founded logotherapy, a psychotherapy discipline that describes a search for life's meaning, also recognizes our capacity to define our own experiences by saying, in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So what can you do to create space between this stimuli and response, to acknowledge these thoughts, emotions, and feelings, but not allow them to take over? There are a few things. For me, it has been a practice of transcendental meditation, where I sit twice per day for 20 minutes. And I allow a mantra to replace my thoughts. It sounds difficult, but when you get into the practice, you'd be amazed at how it creates a state of calm, like the bottom of the ocean. When I am calm, I also begin to feel the stronger connection to the world around me, including all living things, such as people, animals, plants, and trees, to Mother Nature herself. This connection is something many indigenous communities have never lost, and something our planet desperately needs. Einstein spoke of thoughts and connectivity. He said, "A human being is part of the whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circles of compassion, to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty." Today, we live in a world that has been described as VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. Certainly the global pandemic, the war in Ukraine, climate change, artificial intelligence, even current inflation can make it feel like so many of the things we have taken for granted no longer hold true. And yet we must be resilient, of calm mind, body, and spirit to lead through these periods of change with the highest order ambition, which is to keep the people we love safe. As a corporate leader, where I'm seeing high rates of depression and burnout in the workspace, I am more convinced we need a different type of leadership. Leadership that is grounded on an understanding of our minds and heart, that provides the right skills and tools that can be applied well before people enter the workspace, and that ultimately enable people to be their best. A book I came across recently called A Time to Lead, Mastering Yourself So You Can Master Your World by Craig Dowden shares this point of view, making the case that the best leaders today possess an advanced understanding of the inner workings of their mind and their hearts. This era is calling for an advanced and more humanistic approach to leadership, which requires exceptional self-insight and self-management. To be at our best, we need to possess an advanced level of understanding about our minds and our hearts. So in closing, let me share one last parable. In a small village, there was a room with 1,000 mirrors. A small girl used to go into the room to play. Seeing 1,000 children around her, she became very joyful. She would clap and smile and sing. And in response, she would see 1,000 children clapping and smiling and singing. It was the happiest place on earth, and she would visit it often. The same place was visited by a sad and depressed person. As he looked around the room, he saw 1,000 sad, depressed, and angry men. Seeing these images, he got scared and raised his hands to hit them. They, in turn, raised their hands to hit him. So you see, your thoughts, your perception of the world around you define your experience every single moment of every day. It is by mastering your mind that you have the capacity to embody the good we desperately need to see in the world, which in turn, just like the girl with 1,000 mirrors, will be returned to you in a life full of happiness, prosperity, and unlimited success. Thank you.